Tank carries the power. He's sneaky. Explosive.
Yeah, he sets traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power, too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Nah, I'm not shocked. I mean, his last fight when he fought Lamont, Jake Paul was at the fight. He told y'all he was going to fight somebody like Jake Paul. So I'm not shocked. It don't surprise me. So
Joe Rogan has delivered a chilling warning to Jake Paul ahead of his clash with Gervonta Tank Davis. On his latest podcast, Rogan cautioned the YouTuber turned boxer that stepping in against a knockout machine like Davis is a completely different reality compared to the opponents Paul has faced so far. Though Rogan admitted Jake's commitment to improving his boxing skills is real, he stressed that Tank's speed, power, and ring IQ could quickly expose Paul's flaws. To Rogan, this isn't just another celebrity fight. It's a dangerous matchup that could end badly if Jake underestimates the storm in front of him.
Boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta Tank Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder, nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Rogan has often praised Gervonta Tank Davis's knockout power, calling it terrifying, almost like watching a young Mike Tyson. Alongside comedian Ali Suddy, he broke down Davis's 7th-round knockout of Ryan Garcia, pointing out how Davis unleashes immense power despite his compact frame. Rogan noted, "It's crazy, there's nothing special about the way he looks physically," stressing just how deceptive that strength really is. He also underlined Davis's relentless, aggressive style, the very edge that makes his presence inside the ring so intimidating.
I am a Gervonta fan. I think that guy's so unusual.
Yeah.
His style's so unusual, and it's like patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Leo Santa Cruz fight was really something for me because Leo Santa Cruz is a technician. He's great, Mexican style, but he's also a technician. And that fight was very close before Tank stopped him.
Yeah.
But he has that power that can end it.
Well, he finds these openings and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level. He probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because he just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can fucking crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got massive confidence in that. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that like Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. And so I was just a giant fan of the guy. I just loved, as a person who like really enjoyed technique, I like watching someone who's exceptional at it.
Even though Rogan believes he isn't ready to face pro boxers like Tank Davis, he has still given Jake Paul plenty of respect for his achievements inside the boxing ring. He described Paul's navigation of a celebrity-driven sport as genius, admitting that Paul is a legitimate boxer pulling in big paydays while showing flashes of true boxing skill. Rogan has made it clear that Paul has proven himself as more than just a YouTuber, displaying real technique, ring IQ, and a gift for self-promotion that keeps him in the boxing conversation. At the same time, Rogan stays grounded about the spectacle that surrounds Paul's fights.
But is this Logan Paul, is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. People mocked me when I was saying that before, but now I think people are coming around. And the way I look at it, I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was like 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. Like, it's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not like sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, like highly promotable, like really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future. He's really something special. If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy. He was just a boxer. And you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever. Knock him out with one punch like that. Like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
The fight's intrigue comes mostly from the sharp physical contrast between the two men. Paul, standing 6 feet 1 inch and weighing around 199 pounds, fights in the cruiserweight division. Across from him is Davis, just 5 feet 5.5 inches, and usually weighing close to 135 pounds, a reigning WBA lightweight champion. That 60-pound gap has sparked questions about fairness and safety in this matchup. Still, despite the concerns, both sides have agreed to the exhibition, with Paul reportedly cutting to 195 pounds to bring the fight a little closer.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is official. A lightweight takes on a heavyweight, a bit insane, a big size difference, but also a speed difference. I want to talk about this fight, get my picks and predictions for how it's going to play out, and basically just let's run it. So the only combat sports fight I can think of off the top of my head that was similar in the size disparity is Buckley versus Rizabuyov. Now look at these guys. Buckley is 5'6", I believe 5'7". Rizabuyov is 6'5". It just looks ridiculous. And Jake Paul, it says 6'1", but I think he's more like 6'2". He's a big fucking dude, 76-inch reach. Well, Gervonta's only 5'5", with a 9-inch reach disadvantage on Jake Paul. 9-inch reach. You're having a laugh, bud. But she's not all about size, boys. As Buckley showed against Rizabuyov, speed is a factor, and these little guys can move. Buckley actually won this fight on points. A lot of jabs to the body, jab to the body, overhand right, on repeat. Rinse and repeat, use your speed, get out of range. When you're in range, you're hitting the body, hitting up top. When you're out of range, you're just moving around and keeping the big man moving. And I do see this going a similar way. Now, I'm not a Jake Paul hater by any means. I actually think he's pretty decent. But just the size difference, I mean, he weighs almost 100 pounds more than Gervonta. I mean, he is going to be a lot slower. And Jake isn't the most explosive and the quickest guy. I mean, like I said, I'm no Jake Paul hater. I actually think he's pretty good. He's got power, a lot of power. But he's just not that quick, and Gervonta is very fucking quick. Now, there is no way in the world Gervonta Davis finishes Jake Paul. You cannot pay me enough on that pick. But Gervonta Davis on points, I think is basically signed, sealed, delivered. It's going to be jab to the body, move. Jab to the body and move. And jab to the body again and move. It's all it's going to be. So if you're paying for this fight, I mean, I think it's on Netflix, so most of us should be locked and loaded, but if you're going anywhere to pay for this one, don't even bother. It's going to be boring as fuck. It's going to be Gervonta jabbing the body and Jake Paul missing overhands. That's what this fight's going to be, and it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be 120 to 100 in favor of the little man. 5'5", 63-inch reach, Gervonta Tank Davis.
For Davis, the danger isn't physical, it's reputational. A loss to Paul, carrying a 12-1 record, yet far less seasoned in professional boxing, could damage Davis's credibility with purists and fans. On the other hand, Paul has everything to gain, earning exposure and legitimacy if he can beat an undefeated champion like Davis. Still, not everyone believes this fight belongs in professional boxing. Critics like Ryan Garcia have voiced doubt, comparing it to scripted wrestling more than a serious contest. Garcia mocked the idea of Davis bulking to nearly 195 pounds as delusional, warning that boxing is drifting from true competition into popularity-driven spectacles. Even so, the fight is set to command global attention, with Netflix streaming it live. The new reality is popularity over merit, choosing money fights over real battles. Garcia warned the sport's integrity is being chipped away, piece by piece, every single day.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch a lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? You know, there's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, you know, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and, you know, Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you, you're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
All right, so it looks like it's official that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tank Davis. So pretty crazy considering Jake Paul is 6'1", 220 walking around, and Tank Davis is 5'5", and I think he's 140 walking around. So we're talking about 80-pound weight difference and then 8 inches of height. You know, everyone's been telling Jake Paul that he needs to fight real fighters in their prime. And Gervonta Tank Davis is in his prime and one of the best fighters out there, but this is just ridiculous. Let me know what you think.
Joe Rogan himself has raised eyebrows at Paul's choices outside this fight, pointing to the delay of a potential bout with Anthony Joshua until 2026. He expressed doubt, even joking, "I think he put on all the steroids, since the postponement feels odd when both fighters are reportedly ready right now." To Rogan, the move seems suspicious, hinting at motives beyond simple preparation. And despite Paul's size advantage, most boxing experts still expect Tank Davis to deliver the knockout. Former world champ Shawn Porter confidently predicted a KO win for Tank, declaring, "I'm betting on Tank." You'd be surprised. Analysts agree that Davis's speed, boxing IQ, and knockout power could neutralize the physical mismatch. For them, Davis's proven skill outweighs Paul's raw tools. Quickly, boxing insiders weighed in on the spectacle. Some slammed it as undermining the sport's integrity, while others admitted its undeniable promotional and financial pull.
What Gervonta Davis did for your preparation?
You know what? I think getting him on the back end of the sparring was more so to make sure the eyes and the focus and everything's there. He is one of the sharpest boxers I've ever been in the ring with, and I'm sure it won't change. It won't change much after being in the ring with Terrence. I would imagine that Terrence will be the sharpest, but that boy Tank is sharp.
What do you think?
Will Tank Davis knock out Jake Paul? That's a question that many people are asking now that they're actually set to fight November 14th. Most people think that the weight disadvantage is going to play a major role in how this fight's going to turn out. Personally, I could kind of see a knockout. We already saw how Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather did, and that was like the same type of weight difference, I believe. Also, on top of that, any punch could be a knockout shot. It just has to be placed well with time, and we know that Tank has explosiveness and amazing timing and accuracy. So at the end of the day, it's always possible. But do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I think it's just going to be another Jake Paul decision fest match. I don't think that anything super exciting is going to happen, but it is kind of interesting to think about. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You can knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you are saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
Daniel Cormier was stunned when news of Jake Paul versus Tank Davis broke, zeroing in on the jaw-dropping 60-pound weight difference as the most shocking factor. On The Herd with Colin Cowherd, DC admitted the fight felt more like a spectacle than a true boxing match. And yet, despite that massive size gap, he still labeled Davis the betting favorite, pointing to his elite skills over Paul's promotional power. Meanwhile, ahead of Jake Paul's clash with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Georges St-Pierre cautioned him not to dwell on past defeats, especially the loss to Tommy Fury. Drawing from his own upset loss to Matt Serra, GSP warned that chasing revenge is dangerous and counterproductive. But after Paul's victory over Anderson Silva, GSP couldn't hide his respect, praising Jake's discipline, sharp body work, tight defense, and strong ring IQ. He also highlighted Paul's business instincts and relentless work ethic, admitting the Paul brothers are exceptional athletes who mastered a new social media era, though still not yet among boxing's true elite.
Yo, so Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Davis. I'm serious. It's real. 199 in Paul's last fight, 133.8 for Davis in his last fight. I discussed that and so much more at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific at my YouTube channel. The link will be in my bio. But hey, I thought he was going to fight Anthony Joshua. How do you end up from Anthony Joshua to Tank Davis? I discuss.
My brother has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Serra on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag until the point I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy, but you need to focus on the next task, because that could be a big mistake.
Boxing legend Carl Froch tore into the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, blasting it as a complete mockery of the sport and even calling Paul a clown. Froch argued the matchup proves nothing, dismissing Davis's previous opponents like Mike Tyson and Chavez Jr. as washed-up names, before adding, for the sake of boxing, I'd gladly come back just to knock Paul's teeth straight down his throat. To Froch, this clash isn't competition. It's boxing sinking into circus territory, and he insists he'd still clean house even 10 years retired. The Jake Paul versus Tank Davis showdown, in his view, feels less like sport and more like spectacle. Critics echo the sentiment, labeling it a blatant money grab. Huge weight gaps, exhibition-style rules, and streaming hype are what fuel this fight, not pure competition. Former champ Andre Berto dismissed it as a calculated payday over integrity. On The Herd, the bout was called baffling, a slippery slope dragging boxing into sideshow status. Even Ryan Garcia piled on, slamming it as a joke fight, comparing the sport to WWE.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode. But I hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, I just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
At first, Davis openly dismissed Jake Paul as a clown who couldn't fight, making it clear he wouldn't entertain him even for money. Over time, however, Davis began to respect Paul's dedication, noting, "Though I still think he's a clown, I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it for the hype." He went on to say that Paul's skill level is decent and commended his mental toughness, observing that Paul is genuinely trying to become a boxer. While not yet fully impressed with his ability, Davis now acknowledges Paul's seriousness and commitment to the sport.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah.
Gotta be mentally tough to be in the box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
What do you think about Jake Paul facing Gervonta "Tank" Davis despite the massive weight difference? Share your thoughts down in the comments.